Bill and Ted Face the Music is actually a movie. It's actually a thing that exists now. I remember for the longest time this was in development and there were ideas thrown around back and forth, and it was unclear whether we were ever actually gonna get a third film. But it's been developing for quite some time now, and a script's been worked on for many years. And much like Bad Boys for Life earlier this year, we finally have a third Bill and Ted movie, a trilogy capper as it were. Many years have passed since the end of Bogus Journey. Bill and Ted have their daughters that they're taking care of along with their wives. And they've been trying to do some great stuff with music over the years, something that'll save the universe, but they've not been able to come up with that song yet. And they're at the tether end, and they realize they only have a few hours maybe to do it now, because otherwise everything is going to come to a cataclysmic conclusion, and the space-time continuum is going to get destroyed, and they're going to basically lose everything that they've cared for. I had to take a bit of a refresher course right now before watching Face the Music. I watched Excellent Adventure just a couple of days ago, and I loved it. That film is awesome, and it's a film that honestly just it gets better and better over time. It's the perfect blend of like 80s cheese and just fun. And the second one, while not quite as good, is also pretty entertaining, and a lot of elements from Bogus Journey are in this movie. So if you've not seen the second one in a while, I highly recommend that too. But that's okay, because if you've not seen it in a while, this movie does give you a little bit of a recap, so you do have yourself pretty well cemented when the film actually begins over here. And I would say the first 20 minutes or so of this one were a little slow. It's when it started off, I wasn't quite feeling that energetic startup that the first one had in particular, and I kind of was worried. I was thinking, oh god, please don't tell me like this is going to be the entire movie. I could really use an energy bolt right now, like something to just kick this film into gear. Thankfully, past the 20-minute mark, once this thing picks up, the next 70 minutes of film are incredibly entertaining. I had a most excellent time with this movie. And I think it's a movie that a lot of people need right now. It's a positive, fun movie which doesn't take itself very seriously, has a lot of bizarre imagery, and it gets insane. But it's also very sweet and very well handled insanity. There's a very positive vibe throughout the entire film, which I do actually kind of respect. Like I said, it's been a rough year. So if you want something that basically can take your mind off of that stuff for about 90 minutes, this might be the best thing to do. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter are both once again fantastic. The chemistry that these two actors have is just intoxicating. It's really great. Even the first two movies showcase that wonderfully, and that's the same thing over here as well. They both riff off of each other wonderfully. The two daughters in this movie, played by Samara Weaving and Bridget Lundy-Paine, were also really, really good. A lot of the film revolves around them as they're trying to help their dads, and they both were really great. It was a very simple thing. They were very good friends. You could tell they really cared about their fathers, and the relationship that they all had was really sweet. I thought that was one of the more endearing parts of the film. Just the actors' chemistry with one another was really great. All the supporting cast also is really, really good. I mean, there's really no bad performance in this movie. There's a robot character who was pretty funny. Got better as the film progressed. There's a bit of a running joke with him, which could get a little much at times. We'll talk more about that stuff later. The film has visual effects that are fairly solid, although there are points where it does look a little cheap. This is something that I feel like is going to get criticized by a lot of people. I didn't mind that. I actually think it works in the favor of this movie because of the first two. It works with the kind of setting and the kind of bogus aspect of this franchise. And I think some of the cheaper moments where it looks like it's very obviously a CGI thing, like there's this transforming thing, that actually worked in the film's favor. Again, I feel like this is going to come down to perceptions, but if we're really being honest here, I think those little moments make it as good as it did. The music's great. This is a film that's built on music, so obviously you gotta have some killer tracks in here. The time traveling stuff that they do is also really entertaining. Basically everything past the first 20 minutes. The first 20 minutes setup is not quite as good as I think it could have been. Yeah, it doesn't also have the manic energy that the first one did. I keep going back to the first one in particular because that's still the gold standard of the franchise. I think this is better than 2, but not as good as 1. I think when that first one starts off right out the gate, you are in. It has you by the hook. And this one takes some time. It does definitely have its moments where it's like, setting itself up. But like I said, once it gets going, it gets rid of most of those flaws and it gets really, really entertaining. So yeah, I would recommend watching this film just based on the entertainment aspect of it. And once it does approach its climax, when you start to sort of figure out what they're gonna do in the end, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had a wonderful time with it. And I wouldn't lie, there were points where I was like kind of getting swept up in the moment, and in a happy way, in a very happy way. I do recommend seeing it. It's now available video on demand, which is the recommendation I would give to watching it right now, because theaters are still a little dicey. But I know some drive-ins are showing it, so if you get a chance to see it at a drive-in, go right ahead. Just maintain social distancing if you do, but otherwise it's available for you to watch on your home theater screen if you really want to. I'm gonna give Bill and Ted Face the Music a 7.5 out of 10. Speaking of theaters, I want to talk to you guys really quickly because there's a couple of other movies coming out very soon. The New Mutants is out today, and so is Tenet for a lot of people. A lot of people have already reviewed it. Theaters are still shut where I am, so that's not going to be happening for a bit. I apologize for that. There's not going to be much in terms of reviews for those two movies anytime soon, which is why I'm kind of glad that this got a VOD release as well as a theatrical release. If I do get a chance to see the two of them at some point in time, I will obviously have reviews for that out for you, but if you guys are expecting a Tenet review or a New Mutants review, I am really, really sorry. I mean, it's the virus, man. Can't help it right now. But I do want to know what you guys think of Bill and Ted Face the Music. I hope that you guys enjoy it and I get a most excellent time out of it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. And as always, be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!